Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is our weekly review of Married at First Sight, Season 10. This is episode 10. Let's get started. Well, before we get started, if you are returning, welcome back. If you are new to my channel, please go ahead and click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you know when I post another video. All right, so here we go. So like I said, this is Married at First Sight, episode 10, Season 10, episode 10. And this week, what was this week's episode called? This week, Dr. Pepper had to put in some work. So Pastor Cal has done his part. Dr. Viviana did hers. Now it's Dr. Pepper's turn. So this week's episode was over a span of day 24 to day 28, somewhere in 28 or 29. I think it might have been 29. And kind of just see the couples some of the couples getting pretty settled into their flow. So Dr. Pepper went and talked to the three troubled couples, which is Taylor and Brandon, Mika and Michael, Mindy and Zach. So let's kick it off with Derek and Katie. They start off with we start off with them at their apartment. They have kind of, like I said, they've settled in. They have determined who does what. He takes out the trash. She washes the dishes. They realize neither of them can cook because remember last week I told you when she was cooked that meal and she had all them disclaimers. You might have to add some seasoning and this and that. And then when he cooked box mac and cheese. He tried to fix breakfast omelets. They about to burn the building down. The smoke alarm goes off. So they decided they were going to, Katie said she decided she was going to have a cooking night, a cooking class, and go to a cooking class and invite the other couples. Cute little couples out. I don't have a whole lot written about them because in this episode they seem to be in a decent enough space. Katie does still seem like she doesn't feel like she's really feeling him anymore. I think she got home, they got back into their usual settings and she realized that he's kind of a geek. And I don't think that's her style or her type. So it feels like she's trying to self-sabotage, as we've talked about her before. Like she's trying to find something that she can use to get out later if she wants to. She keeps talking about, she didn't really talk about the falling in love thing this episode, but she did talk about she's seeing him start to look like this relationship is something that he would fight for, whereas before he said he never been in a relationship that he felt like he could fight for, he wanted to fight for. So gather all the couples. So yeah, that was them at the apartment. Like I said, nothing too off the charts with them this week. They gathered all the couples. They went to the cooking class and sit down at the table. Each couple kind of goes around and says where they are. And the one thing I did not like, and I'm kind of jumping around this week because that's how the episode went. It just kind of jumped around. The one thing I did not like about that group conversation was, but I didn't like them asking about Taylor and Brandon. They weren't there, obviously, and I felt like because they weren't there, they should not have talked about them. They brought Katie kind of put Mika on the spot and was like, do you know what's going on? And Michael in his sidebar said, that's their business and I don't think this needs to be the topic of a group conversation or discussion, especially since they're not there to defend themselves. And I agree with him. It just didn't seem right. It didn't feel right. Everybody's making their own judgment calls about their relationship when it's not their place. And it's nobody else's story to tell. So if Taylor and Brandon are there to tell their story, then they shouldn't be the topic of conversation. But I'll circle back to that in a bit. So they did the cooking class, and then later in the episode, they got they had to play sexy Jenga or sex Jenga or couples Jenga, whatever you want to call it. And I thought that was really cute. That was a really cute game. It was a nice way to kind of lead into setting the mood, and that was it. I mean, not much with them, right? What do you guys think? Is there more that we need to talk about with them this week? Jessica and Austin, we know they are in a really good place. Like, they are enjoying each other's company. And Austin even said Jessica has been she's the highlight of his day. He thinks about her all the time, and he loves being around her, loves being with her. He enjoys being with her. They're doing household chores together. They're baking cookies together. You know, they are really getting along. It feels like they are the one couple who, if I had to, at this point, at episode 10, if I had to put my money on anybody, anywhere, it would be them. They enjoy hanging out. What else did I put about them? Because they're just really cute together. Like, they're really cute. They're still that geeky, awkward couple. Jessica did say that because the game that they got to play was spin the wheel, and it was a big, like, Wheel of Fortune wheel, and it had different sayings on different things for them to do. So, like, give whisper sexy some part in his ear, do a lap dance, or what was another thing? Do a body shot. They played the game, and then they were like, all right, good night, bye, cameras. So Jessica says she's not big on PDA. Like, she doesn't really want to be hugging and kissing and stuff in front of the cameras, but they definitely enjoy doing that behind the cameras. So I think they're great. I think they are really good right now. Like, unless something major comes up, they are kind of like Deanna and Greg were last season. They're kind of boring because there's nothing really eventful happening with them, but in this instance, boring is kind of good. So let's just leave Jessica and Austin there. Like, it's really not much to say about them. They are in a good space. Now, I don't know who's worse. Mickey and Michael, they seem to be on the biggest roller coaster. Zach and Mindy, who just seem to be going downhill at the speed of light, or Brandon and Taylor, whose roller coaster is just completely off the tracks. So let's start with Mickey and Michael. They start off at their apartment having a conversation, and she asked him again, what do you want from me? Tell me specifically what you need me to do, or you need to see me do to show you that I'm trying to make this work. And he says, be more vulnerable. Well, is it just me, or what? I'm confused about what it is he wants. I don't hear him saying what he wants to her, and that's it. Okay, so we all know how we feel about Mika, right? She's a lot. She's extra. She talks and talks and talks and talks and talks. And he even says she does this. She does a lot of this when she's talking. And that makes him feel uncomfortable. But she consistently asks the same question. She's consistent with what she tells him she needs from him. And he's really vague in his answers, and I just don't understand why. And of course, it comes out later that he doesn't always tell the truth, because that's his go-to. That's his defense mechanism. He hides behind the truth. His first reaction to anything is to tell a lie or to not tell the full truth. She doesn't like that. I don't know who would. He wants her to be more vulnerable. Well, what does that mean? How do you want me to be more vulnerable? Well, you have to do more. Well, what does do more mean? Do more what? You want me to do the dishes? You want me to rub your feet? You want me to cook more? What does that mean? Do more. You got to expound. You got to elaborate. Use your words. You're an educator. I know you have a vocabulary. Use your words. And then he gets to, like Brandon, he gets to the point where he doesn't want to deal with it anymore, because her actions, the way she sounds, the way she comes off is aggressive. It's makes him uncomfortable, and so he walks out. He leaves. He doesn't say, I need a minute. This conversation is too much for me. I need a minute. I'll be back. Nope. He gets up and he just leaves. I mean, if there's one couple whose communication is completely wrong, it's them. So he does leave. She sits around and waits, and he comes back. And when he comes back, he says he told her that he left because the conversation was getting too much for him, and he just needed to step away. And to her defense, if you're gonna draw a line, if we're gonna have a line that we don't cross when we are in a conversation or in an argument, even if you have a line where you don't want me to cross, and I don't know where that line is, how do I know that I've crossed it? He has to talk to her. He has a problem with communication. He uses his being adopted as a shield to protect him. He says that he's felt didn't feel trust and love and acceptance from a lot of people. So his go-to is to shut down or walk away or to tell a lie, to lie about, or to not. He never says that he tells a lie. He just says he's not always completely honest. You can't even be honest about that you're lying. Anyway, so they agreed to go to the cooking class with the rest of the couples, and they are clearly awkward still in that space. People picked up on it. Was just there going through the motions. Other people noticed it because Mindy called it out. So after the cooking class, then they go to, because they went to a couple different places. They go to lunch. She invites him to lunch because she was supposed to go to a yoga class at his yoga studio. And when she got there, the people that worked there didn't know who he was. There's no yoga instructor named Michael that works here. The only person named Michael that works here cleans up the rooms. He's the yoga room cleaner. So that set her off, sent her into a tailspin. So she was embarrassed. She had driven all the way out to wherever this yoga studio is, and she can't let that go. They can't have a conversation about it at home, so they have to go to lunch and have a conversation in the middle of a restaurant. She calls him out on it, and he's again shutting down. And that I can honestly say that would annoy the hell out of me. Like every time all right, don't get me wrong. She comes on like a bull, like a raging bull. But he shuts down so quickly because he knows what she's saying is true. Like he wasn't being honest. Funny, later in the episode when Dr. Pepper went to see them, they were showing clips of him saying things, and he said, yeah, he teaches yoga 2 to 3 times a week. And then in another clip, he says, yeah, I go to yoga 2 times a week and I teach once a month. So like he can't even keep his stories that he tells the experts together. So I know he can't I know he can't keep what he's telling Mika together. But during the argument, when they were in the restaurant, she's just like, I don't understand why you have to lie. You lied about the mileage on your car. You're like, what the hell is that? Why you gotta lie about the mileage on your car unless you're going to see somebody going somewhere where you're not supposed to be? Oh, that must have been from when they were in Panama. This girl don't forget nothing. Like she has a mental Rolodex where she puts everything into a file drawer and pulls it out for later reference. So they blow up and she's like, I'm over you lying. And he says, I'm over you. All right, so we leave the restaurant. Fast forward to them in their apartment, and Dr. Pepper comes. And that's when they kind of get to the core of why he's not being honest. And I think I said a couple of videos ago that I thought he was a liar. And somebody wrote in the comments that I was having feminist opinions and calling him a liar, and I didn't know him, but calling him a liar just wasn't right. And he called himself a liar this week. So was it a premonition? Was I psychic? Did I see it coming? Or was I just talking out of the side of my neck? Either way, it was my opinion at that time, and it's my opinion now. And he said it. He lies. His go-to is to lie. He's uncomfortable with the truth sometimes, so he lies. Either way, it's not right. So Dr. Pepper, she kind of pulled that out of him. I think that was good for Mika to hear, even though I'm glad Dr. Pepper was there because Mika stopped talking long enough to hear. He says that when they get into those arguments and she starts going, and her hands start going, he feels uncomfortable, and then he feels like he can't be his authentic self. I don't know that he knows who his authentic self is. If his go-to is to lie to a response, then he doesn't even know. At some point, he's going to lose sight of what the truth is. Just my opinion. But at the end of their meeting with Dr. Pepper, they both said that they're willing to try. So then they get a trust game. And their game is that they are blindfolded, and one reads a question to the other and they give them an honest answer. And it's almost like, have you guys watched Love is Blind on Netflix? It's almost like that. Like when you don't see a person, when you're having a conversation with somebody and you don't see them, you might be able to be a little more honest when you don't see their face or their reaction or their response, their physical response to your answer. So they're blindfolded. Her first question to him was, what is your job title and what is your duties? Like, what do you do? And his answer was, he's a director of for before and after care for special education children. Isn't that what he was when they went on the honeymoon? So you didn't get a new principalship and you didn't get another job that was supposed to come on the heels of the principalship at the Catholic school that you backed out of. What was her other question to him? I don't remember. But that one made me laugh. His questions to her were, do you feel like, his first question to her was, name something that's on your bucket list that you haven't achieved yet. And she said something about swimming with the dolphins in 10, 15, 12 different countries. Like who? Okay. All right. I think what he meant was something that's on your bucket list, probably related to love and marriage, not dolphins. Come on, Mika. Come on, Mika. Come on, Mika. And then he asked her, do you see yourself ever falling in love with me? Meaning him. And she gave kind of a long drawn out answer. And what she was saying, I could get some of. Like, she's like, if certain things are different, if things change and we continue to grow and, then it's a possibility. That's where she said. And he said he understood that. Like, I get that. Like, we're in a funny place right now for me to say, yeah, I can see in a couple of weeks that I could be in love with you. But where they are, I feel like they could see that they possibly would like each other in a couple days. Like, I still feel like they don't even really like each other. Anytime you can say I'm done with you so quickly, you're not there. You're not in it. They ended by saying that they were willing to both work on it, and we'll see. Zach and Mindy. She's still at the apartment all alone, checking her text messages for messages from him that he's not sending her. The one thing she said in the beginning scenes was that she was wondering if her parents were right about it, that this was a mistake, and if she would regret it. Your parents probably were right. I'm not saying that they were right to not show up at your wedding and support you, but they were right in saying that this was a mistake. They also go to the cooking class. They interact together more than Mika and Michael did, but they look like buddies, friends. They're not a couple. Zach is completely fine just being her hangout buddy. Dr. Pepper comes to visit them. I told y'all Dr. Pepper was earning her coins this week. So she comes visit them, and Zach starts talking in circles again, as he always does. But Dr. Pepper called him out and said, you know, I asked you early on if you were faced with a situation where you are not physically attracted to your spouse, would you be willing to give it a try and work at it? And he told her yes. And she said, you are absolutely not doing that. You're doing the complete opposite of that. You are physically, emotionally, mentally separated from Mindy. She even said, Dr. Pepper said, I've never seen a contestant, I don't think she called him a contestant, but that's what I call him, like him on Married at First Sight ever. She must be forgetting Luke. Although Luke did live in the house with Katie and they were actually having sex. But I keep telling y'all, Zach is not like Mindy since she told him that she wasn't taking a shower when they got to Panama off that flight. And then she always seems to look the same when she sees him. Like she always has on this yoga tank top and these yoga pants, or not even yoga pants, leggings, and her hair pulled back in a ponytail. So put on a little blush, give me a little eyeliner, like work towards being enticing to him. He obviously he's very meticulous. You see how he washes his skin, he does his hair, his clothes are very, put together, his outfits. So try to be his equal. I mean, I'm not saying that she can't be, but she's just not being. Their assignment is to go to, I've never heard this before, tantric therapy. So they go to this place, and I think Mindy's a bit uncomfortable because they haven't been that close before. And she even says, this is the closest Zach and I have ever been. So they're on the floor, and she has to straddle him and wrap her legs around him. And they're hugging and touching and just kind of looking into each other's eyes. And I think for a moment, when he's not looking at her, he does actually feel something. But when they get to the end and he's like face to face with her again, I just don't think he's physically attracted to her. And he can't get past that. He won't allow himself to get past it. Mindy was hopeful that this would lead to something more. But when Dr. Pepper asked him, you're really want to work towards being in this marriage and being in a relationship with Mindy, you really should be living in this space. Like, you have no reason not to be. And his answer was, I'll strongly consider it. He ain't moving in. Y'all think he's gonna move in? So after they leave the tantric therapy, they go back to their separate apartments, right? Am I remembering that correctly? I think he went home. After the tantric therapy. Pretty sure he did. So yeah, that's Zach and Mindy. All right, y'all, let's go. Let's just jump right into Taylor and Brandon. And I don't even know that I like to continue to talk about them. And here's why. They're not going to make it. I feel like they're both at this stage in the game. I feel like they are both just here for the camera. Maybe there's some type of clause or wording in their contract where they have to stay the 8 weeks, but production should let them go. Like, it's just getting worse. So they start off with their meeting with Dr. Pepper, and that went so bad so fast. Brandon came in with the chip on his shoulder. And so my problem with Brandon right now is that he's flipped it. He's flipped everything, and he's no longer the victim. I mean, he's no longer the aggressor. He's the victim. And Taylor can't understand how he treated her so badly in Panama that now he's acting so hurt. Like, what she did was so malicious. She just can't see. She doesn't see that that video that she did was as bad as what he did to her. And that's why they can't come to a common ground, because she doesn't see the wrong that she did. She doesn't see any wrong in posting that video and what she said in the video and posting it and any of it. You would have thought that she posted a video of her having sex with another person on IG. Like, that's how bad he says it was malicious, it was disrespectful, it was hurtful, and she was purposely trying to hurt him. I don't think that was what she was doing. I think she was so into her social media moment that she couldn't see past anything else. So he's saying he cannot forget. It cannot be forgiven. It's nothing that she can do that can be forgiven. She's saying she can't apologize because she doesn't know if her apology would be genuine in that moment. And while I agree that that video was wrong, I understand what she's saying. Like, I'm not going to apologize to you right now because it's not a genuine apology. You want me to just say, yeah, I'm sorry, and then we go back and I'm still pissed with you? Because then I will be lying to you. Dr. Pepper was trying her best to try to find some inkling of that she could jump on and help them try to mend this relationship. But Brandon is set on, no, he can't move forward. He can't even see himself moving forward. And Taylor is like, I can't understand why he's so mad. So I can't. No, I'll take that back, because she never said she can't move on. She never said she didn't want to try to make it work. So after they meet with so then Brandon gets, when he's done, and he's ready to go. He tells him to take the microphone off, and he's done. And what I liked about Dr. Pepper is that she didn't make any one person be at fault. She said, you both have fault in this, and I'm trying to figure out how we can fix it on both ends. But Brandon plays the victim very well. Like, I feel like since they've been back from Panama, I think once they left, he realized he didn't want to be with her anymore. And he was looking for an exit clause, and her posting that video was it. And he has jumped on, he is holding on to that, and he's not going to let it go. That's his way out. He's not going to change. He's not going to waver. That's his way out, and he's going to ride it until he's out. So after they meet with Dr. Pepper, then they both go and kind of meet up with mutual friends. So Taylor meets up with her friend Taco or Tacho or Tico, and then the girl. The problem I had with that meeting and with Brandon and his friend, he met up with the guy from, I think it might have been his old roommate. The problem I had with both of those conversations is, if those people were their friends, they would have told them where they saw that they were wrong in the situation. But on both fronts, they let their respective friends feel like they did nothing wrong in either way. Like, Taco said, oh yeah, I saw that IG post and I just laughed at it. Well, you laughed at it because she's not your wife. But if she was your wife, you would have been pissed. He's just like, yeah, that guy's crazy. He is crazy. And the same thing goes for Brandon's friend. He didn't make Brandon acknowledge where his fault was. Brandon has a block too, because he keeps saying we had this argument on day 2 of Panama, but he forgot that they had more than one argument. Like, that was the first argument on day 2. What argument? When we were leaving. So he has selective memory, I think. He remembers everything that she does wrong, but he doesn't remember all of his faults. So the one thing I can say again is that they should be removed from the series at this point. Like, all their parts should be edited out. I think they're being pimped by the network and the production for ratings, because they know people are going to tune in and see this. One of those things where you know it's going to crash, but you can't not look. It's unfortunate. And oh yes, Dr. Pepper she said that in their meeting. She said it's so unfortunate, and it makes me sad because there were so many other people who wanted to be in that space, who wanted to find a spouse, and these two were chosen, and then Brandon won't even put forth the effort to continue to try. I'm not saying that he should. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is they should be removed. Like, just remove them. Just remove it. So thank you all for watching. Please comment. Leave me some comments below and let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys same time, same place next week. I'm going to drink my wine because they just stressed me out this week. See you later. Bye.